Erin in Sacramento. Pronouns are he, him. Erin's a polytheist who wants to explain why he's a polytheist. Yeah, Erin, you're on with Paul and Matt. How are you?
Hi, wonderful. Matt, I thank you for what you did yesterday. I just got to say, because I'm also gay, and me and my straight brother, I'm disabled, so he cares for me, and we rescue trans youths from, poverty. And so, yesterday, thank you as an ally for sticking up for us, because your integrity means a lot.
I appreciate
that.
And let's do the Sunday show, and let's get you to tell us why you're a polytheist, and if and why you think Paul and I should be polytheists as well.
I really don't think you guys should or shouldn't be, because part of my belief is I don't feel it's my place to push my beliefs on other people. My part of my belief is that people need to come to belief on their own. I can tell why I believe, but it may be a good reason, it may not be a good reason. I don't deny science. I accept it. I accept medicine. So I accept facts for most of the whole. Now, the reason why I believe in something, and calling it, that's what's confusing about calling it a God. I'm not really sure that it's a God in the way that a Christian would think of a God. I think it's more, well, I guess we could use the word, because I don't know what else to describe it.
Hey, Erin?
But a couple of years ago, I had surgery to remove my left foot.
Volume. I'm not convinced the outgoing volume to the callers is able to break through cell phone barriers. Erin, when you say God, it says here you're a polytheist, which means that you should be calling to advocate for multiple gods. And yet you keep talking about...
I am. I haven't gotten that far. I'm sorry.
You keep talking about a God, so...
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to confuse. I'm just nervous.
Just tell us what... By polytheism, you are convinced that there are many gods, or some gods?
Yes.
Why?
I was saying that when I lost my foot, I almost died on the operating table. So during that moment, I had a vision. And, some people are Kemetic, an Egyptian pagan. I happen to be one. But I wasn't until that moment, because I had a vision of Anubis saying that he would bring me back if I would walk the path of balance, so that my heart and the feather would match the scale. And I said, "Are you really Anubis?" And whatever it was said, "I am to you." So I don't know what that meant. Like I said, I don't know. I'm still confused. I'm very confused. But I took it to mean Anubis, Osiris, Bastet, Isis, Ra, the rest of them, that there may be some truth to their existence. It may not be the myths that we're told, that they may be something other than that. I don't know what they are. I don't claim, because I don't know what I saw. I don't know if it was my mind. I don't know anything. But I just believe, because it felt like I was talking to entities that were there with me. Like, it felt real, very real.
Erin?
And yes.
How long ago did this happen?
It was 3 years ago.
Okay. And if you don't mind, how old are you?
I'm 47 years old.
So at 44, you lost a foot and had a vision. During the 44 years that preceded your amputation, how much time had you spent looking into or being involved with Anubis, Osiris, Ra, Bastet?
Oh, I can be honest, totally honest about that. I've had an interest in that ever since I used to be a Christian, but even as a Christian, I used to love to explore. I loved everything about Egypt. I loved the art. I loved I loved
Okay.
the myths. I thought were cool, that kind of thing. I thought they were
Yeah.
interesting, like more like superheroes than anything.
Yeah. Cool. And I was into some of that stuff as well when I was much younger. I'm a big Moon Knight fan. I thought Moon Knight was one of the better half of the
Great,
Marvel.
wasn't it?
Um,
Sorry.
but here's the question, and I don't ask this to be insulting, but someone who has a fascination with a particular pantheon of gods and mythology goes through a traumatic experience where walking the path of balance now takes on a whole new meaning because they've lost a foot, and they have a vision that does not provide any evidence and even says, I am to you. And I just saw Shannon's comment and it distracted me. But that's not Shannon's fault, it's mine. Anyway, if we were to assess this, is it more probable that you actually had a vision from Anubis, or that this is what your brain probably created to provide you with something useful at a time of need?
I am open to both ideas, to be honest.
Yeah, but
I really am.
The issue, the question was, what's more probable? And
More probable, because
I just
like
want to know what
I
you
stay on the side of facts. Sorry.
I just want to know which one you think is more probable.
Honestly, it might have been my own mind trying to comfort me. The logic side of my mind is telling me that.
So, how do we tell the difference between this was just your brain and this was something more than your brain?
I honestly don't know. And I'm not coming from any kind of dishonesty. I really don't know how to answer that question.
It's fine. But if you don't know, then it would seem unreasonable for you to take up one position or the other.
Yes, I can see where you're coming from.
And so, but it seems like, because you called in as a polytheist to explain why you're a polytheist, it seems like you're taking up the side that it's more probable that you had an experience with Anubis.
Well, because I have gone into, I have tried that transcendental meditation and prayer and stuff and candle rituals and things like that. And I have seen positive changes come about since that time. And since I've seen those positive changes, I feel that something out there is looking over me. And I've also had experiences I can't explain in my life that it's so hard to become I'm so confused, Matt. I really don't know. I can't pretend to know because I don't know. I believe in something because I believe that positivity came to me once I started believing. That's the one thing I know.
Could positivity increase through a MacGuffin, through Dumbo's magic feather, through a vision that doesn't point to reality but gave you a different perspective?
I'm open to the possibility of that. I've been struggling with this for a long time.
If you were to say right now, I don't have any good reason to believe that Anubis is real, what do you think happens?
I don't know. I can say it, but I don't know, what would happen, because I'm coming from a place of really trying to figure out where I stand. I've been so confused for so long, and there's a lot I really don't understand. I've had a lot of trauma in my life and suffered a lot of abuse.
Yeah,
and
I appreciate that.
Don't know what to do.
Have you been or are you now getting counseling for any of the trauma?
Yes, I am.
Cool. Do you mention your Anubis views to your counselor?
I do.
And what's their take on this? I mean, I get it. Most counselors, not their job to tell you whether or not your belief's real, just like it's not my job or Paul's job to tell you whether your belief's real. I'm just wondering, when you bring it up, are they supportive of the notion? Are they in opposition to it? Are they encouraging you to continue embracing it? Are they encouraging you to explore it to see if you can find out if it's real?
Well, from my last psychologist, I'm being transferred right now. I'm gonna see my new one in a couple of days. But my last psychologist was very supportive. She said to me that faith can be important to some people and can have a positive outlook for some, and for others, it can be harmful. And she said, what does your faith tell you to do? Does it tell you to do good things or bad things? I said, never bad things. And she said, maybe it's not a harmful faith. So I don't know. It's, I think she was coming from that place that you just spoke of, that she can't tell me not to believe because reasons. But I'm actually looking for truth. It's very hard. I mean, I've talked to Erin before, back when I was deconverting from Christianity. And, I still don't know what's going on.
Let me
I
jump
think
back
there's
in.
like a conflict in my mind.
Yeah. And here's the thing. If you acknowledge that you have no way of knowing which position is correct, and you're not even sure how you're going to explore this to get an answer, then I'd suggest that perhaps you don't actually believe, but you're just open to engaging a potential possibility. If you don't think there's going to be consequences, like as long as you don't think that failing to has Anubis or any of the other Egyptian pantheon, have they put any expectations, or have you had any interaction with them since that moment?
Nothing I would constitute as negative.
Okay, but I mean,
I've
if
had
you
no
reach
threats.
out, in your moment of need, Anubis, you had a vision that you attribute to Anubis. Since then, it hasn't happened, and since then, nobody in the Egyptian pantheon has come to you with any sort of demands or expectations or guidance. You just feel generally more positive, and you think somebody's watching, right?
Yes.
Okay. What happens if you stop, or what do you think happens if you stop believing that they're watching and just go, wow, that was an experience that made me more positive. I should stay more positive.
I'm cool with that.
I no, I'm not asking if you're cool. I'm saying, well, do you think there's something bad that would happen? By the way, do you think you can reach out to this pantheon? Like, can you ask Anubis or Ra or Bastet or anybody a question and get an answer?
Not in a physical way, but more like
Well,
a path change, an opportunity. Something comes up that makes my life a little bit better.
So, Erin, you said at the start of the call you weren't sure why Matt or I should believe as you do, or why we would care. And later on, you said you're on a search for truth, and I'm not convinced that's correct. Because that is the answer as to why Matt or I are listening and so intently, and because we do want to know as many true things and as few false things as possible. I feel like maybe you're in for the true things, but you don't care if you let some false things in. But also, it sounds a little bit more to me like you're looking for something pragmatic as opposed to true. Is it? It's you're on a. Seems like you might be on a quest for what works for you, and that's fine. But I'm wondering if you can recognize that in yourself, that you're kind of going from thing to thing, and this one worked better than that one, so that's what you're adopting, as opposed to justification for truth. You seem to acknowledge that. Does that ring true to you, that maybe you're on a pragmatic quest as opposed to
I'll
a truth
be
quest?
like I said, I'm an honest person. So yes, Paul, I think you may be right. I think Matt's right too.
Okay. So should
You think Anubis is right?
Yeah, if it's real. What it said to me wasn't offensive or hurtful or anything like that. So
It's strange that when
it
I
helped
ask
me
you,
in a time of need.
it's strange that when I ask you if you think Anubis is right, you said, yeah, if it's real. For everything else, it's like, yes, I think this is right. And then you're like, yeah, if it's real. So if it's not real, does that mean Anubis is wrong?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to sound it like that. No. Whatever it is, I just attribute the name Anubis to it because that was the thing I saw. But like I said, it said, I am to you. I just call it by that name because that's the only name I can attribute to it. Because of what it looked like. It looked like all those classic visions of Anubis. Jackal-headed god and gold and, all that stuff. So literally, I'm honestly confused. I'm not trying to deceive. I didn't call to deceive. I am literally calling because I don't know what my next step should be.
Okay. Now we've moved into a different realm because at no point did either of us remotely suggest that we thought you were calling to deceive or anything at all like that. But now you're saying it sounds like you're calling because you really want us to answer this question for you. Like you're looking for guidance of, hey, I believe this thing. Is it rational? And yet you've already acknowledged that you have no way to demonstrate it's true, which suggests that are there other things that you would say, I have no way of telling if this is true. Therefore, it's rational.
I'm sorry, Matt. I didn't quite get all the question. My phone. Could you repeat that? I apologize.
Sure. I'll try it similar but slightly different. You're saying you're wanting guidance as to whether or not you're behaving rationally, but you've already acknowledged that if you don't have any way to confirm it's true, and therefore you probably don't actually believe it, but are leaning more towards it as a useful thing. Are there other things where you would look at this and say, I don't have any way to prove that that's true, but I believe it anyway?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. Like, some of the most simple things, like, I don't think the earth is flat. I know it's round. I know it's spherical, round, whatever.
Stop,
but,
stop,
I know that the universe is billions of years old.
Stop.
Oh, I'm in the wrong section. I'm sorry.
How on earth do you say, I don't believe the earth is flat as an answer to that? This is a fact about the universe that is measurable, detectable, and observable. And I was specifically asking about something that you already acknowledged is not measurable, detectable, or observable.
Oh, I misunderstood the question. Okay. Well, the Christian God, for example. Satan,
You believe in the Christian
Lucifer.
God? You believe in the Christian God?
No,
Oh my God.
it's not observable.
Erin, listen very carefully. Is there something that you cannot demonstrate as true with good evidence, and yet you believe it anyway?
Oh my God, I totally did misunderstand it. Yeah, I do believe in spirits. I believe that there's more to the physical realm than just what we can see, taste, and touch. I believe that. I can't prove it, but I believe it. Yes. I'm sorry.
Okay. So,
I misunderstood.
so the
completely.
nonsense about there's more to the world than what we can see, taste, and touch is garbage language that has nothing to do with demonstrating the truth of things. Of course, there's more to the world than we can actually see, taste, and touch. But when you say there are spirits, why do you believe that?
I'm going to sound like a kook. I've had haunting experiences back when I was a kid.
Erin, if you think you're going to sound like a kook, then it sounds to me like you're already acknowledging you have no good reason to believe this, but you believe anyway, which was the question. So I'm just asking what the reason is. I don't care if it's good or not right now. I just want to know what it was.
Oh, okay. I had experiences that I contributed to that because, I just, and so it's always confused me a little bit.
Okay, Erin, I'm gonna stop here. In addition to continuing your therapy, Paul and I aren't therapists and aren't your therapist. We're also not gurus, so we're not going to be here to counsel you on what the right answer is or anything else. I'd highly recommend that you reach out to perhaps recovering from religion, but also
Okay.
it seems to me that you want affirmation and validation that it's okay to keep believing things that you acknowledge are irrational. And I'm not going to give you that. But what I will say is that if you find a belief that is irrational, and yet it seems to be helping you out in some way, making your world better in some way, what I would recommend doing is trying to find out what's actually making your world better. Because what we're talking about here is absolutely Dumbo's magic feather. Dumbo didn't need the feather to fly, but thinking that the feather worked helped him fly. And when he realized that the power wasn't in the feather, but was in him, he could fly. You need to find not your feather with Anubis to balance with, but you need to find the actual thing within you that allows you to live the better life. And if it turns out there's nothing within you and it's actually coming from Anubis, then you would need evidence that it's actually coming from Anubis to justify that. And until you have that, you can't believe it.
Thank you, Matt. You really helped me there. I'm not lying. That helps a lot. I will take that step.
Have a good time. Have a good Sunday. Thanks for calling.
Hello, I'm Jimmy Snow, executive producer for The Line and avid candy eater. Hey, if you'd like to support this channel, you can do so now on Patreon or as a channel member with tiers specific to supporting specific shows and hosts. And it also supports our ability to expand programming going forward. You could also leave a super thanks down below, get a little special highlighted comment, and I'll tell you what, you could hit like and you could hit subscribe. Now, here are some video suggestions so we can fudge that algorithm. Go with one of ours. Forget everyone else on YouTube. I'm begging.